Have a good one.
Right now on Early Morning, time off for Thanksgiving, why President Biden may be using the holiday to mull a potential 2024 presidential run, what Mr. Biden has said about his future. Then online shopping is the future, right? And some of the deals are just too good to miss. How to snag some of the best bargains on Cyber Monday and the tips you should use to find them. And security is top of mind for some shoppers as they prepare to hit the stores for Black Friday. We'll give you a look at the steps officials are taking to keep people protected this holiday season. Good morning and thank you for joining us at NewsNation headquarters here in Chicago. We hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I'm Nick Smith in for Mitch Carr, and this is Early Morning. The tradition may not be what it once was, but shoppers are still searching for some deals on this Black Friday. And with the recent tragedies in both Colorado and Virginia, safety for many is top of mind. With that, we start things off this morning with Alex Capriello. He's live with us for more. Alex, good morning.
Hey, good morning to you, Nick. Yeah, we're seeing both retailers and law enforcement officials elevate their game this holiday season, doing whatever they can to protect the goods from brazen thieves. Unfortunately, some of those big smash and grab robberies that we saw all last year are already beginning to play out this year. Take, for example, this video out of Memphis where more than 20 people ransacked this store, wiping it clean of about $100,000 worth of merchandise. Last year, a whopping 83,000 burglaries occurred during the holiday season, accounting for an estimated $131 million in lost revenue. It's led some companies like Walmart, JCPenney, Walgreens to update their surveillance, and then others like Target and Barnes & Noble to seal up some of their merchandise behind locked plexiglass. We spoke to a captain with the California Highway Patrol's Organized Retail Crime Task Force. He said there will be more officers on the ground this year to try to protect shoppers and business owners.
The whole idea is to deter the crime, is to not even let it happen. But in the event it does, in the event that there are the bad actors that are adamant to making this happen, we will be initiating investigative resources which are behind the scenes, not so easily recognizable, but definitely present.
And the Organized Retail Crime Task Force is really trying to step up its patrols because they have seen such success in the past. For example, they said since its inception back in 2019, they've already arrested some 700 suspects and recovered some $26 million worth of lost revenue. For example, they put out a picture recently of, a truckload of Lululemon gear stolen, which they were able to confiscate and take back to Lululemon. So a lot of good work happening here in California, Nick, and obviously this is on high alert for all across the country as well.
And Alex, we've even seen some retailers close because of that, like some of those Walgreens in San Francisco. Is there any advice you can offer to shoppers to protect themselves as they head out?
Yeah, there's a few pieces of advice that we got from the California Highway Patrol, as well as other reporting that we've done with law enforcement officials. Number one, just be aware of your surroundings, right? Keep your head on a swivel and make sure that you're looking around. Number two, don't leave packages in plain sight. That, of course, details mostly for porch pirates. That's a huge holiday crime. But then also when you're carrying your merchandise that you just bought around, make sure that you are keeping, it on your side and you're not just leaving it out, as well as flashy jewelry. Don't be wearing the Rolex when you're out shopping because thieves are looking for that kind of stuff. And then number three, this really has to do with when you're inside of a store, when it is perhaps being broken into or a smash and grab robbery. They say don't intervene with these people. Don't try to fight back. That's not smart, right? Find a safe space, hide, but also keep those eyes open, right? Because if you are a witness, law enforcement officials are going to be there pretty soon and they need as many details as possible. So don't try to intervene with them. Find your safe space, but stay alert and keep those eyes open, trying to remember as many details as possible.
Stay alert, find a safe space, and don't try to be a hero. Alex, thank you so much.
That's right.
And while a good number of people will hit the stores today, some will choose to cozy up to their computer, point, click, and buy. Some of the best deals of the year can be found online during Cyber Monday. And like Black Friday, those deals are available for more than just a single day. So what should consumers know? For that, we turn to Kelsey Kernstein. Kelsey, good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Well, Cyber Monday and Black Friday deals, they've actually become intertwined over the years. But for those shoppers, they want to wait. They prefer the online shopping. They don't want to cut time from their family. Cyber Monday is historically the way to shop. Now, the best Cyber Monday deals, there will most likely be electronic products. This includes things like TVs, laptops, electronic accessories, and video games. However, it is very important to note that many of these online deals, they actually kick off before Monday this year. Now, Amazon is actually offering a 3-day Cyber Monday event that starts tomorrow on Saturday. The biggest deals that you'll find, they will be on Ring security cameras, headphones, Alex-enabled devices, and kitchen appliances. Walmart Cyber Monday actually kicks off on Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. The store is known for its sales on TVs, Apple products, and kitchen appliances. Now, Target Cyber Monday, it may start early, but it is expected to start on Monday. Now, they expect discounts on TVs, toys, and clothes. Best Buy online deals will start Sunday for Best Buy members. And the hot deals will be on TVs, laptops, Apple products, and PC products, and video games. The Apple Store, though, Cyber Monday kicks off today. It will last through Monday, and the company is offering deals on up to $250 gift cards when you buy certain products. Now, just a heads up for those shoppers out there, the longer you wait, those products, they may be out of stock by Monday, Nick.
Kelsey, you know what? I think it's time now to buy that big screen TV for Super Bowl Sunday if you want to try to get a deal.
Exactly. Get it now.
Kelsey, thank you so much. Well, if you're one of those people who prefers to kick it old school and shop at brick and mortar stores, we've got you covered, as there are a lot of deals out there today. Our Xavier Walton joins us now live from Miami. He's getting a pulse on the shopping situation there. Xavier, good morning.
Nick, good morning. Is it kicking it old school if you want to just walk in the store and go? You don't want to do it online like Kelsey was talking about? Well, we're here at Best Buy where people were lined up well before the doors opened. Right about an hour ago, there was about a line of 20 or so people. Here it is, and you can see over my shoulder here the barricade that lines all the way up to the store. Heavy security here as well. We spoke to these gentlemen just a minute ago, and I said, yeah, there were some crazy people that were here overnight waiting. And keep in mind, inflation hitting Americans like never before. Still, though, consumers are out. As you can see, steady flow here, spending their hard-earned money. The National Retail Federation says this year more than 114 million shoppers will hit stores on Black Friday alone, and overall holiday sales are going to top 2021 numbers by at least 6%, pumping somewhere in the ballpark of $942 billion into the economy.
The people that enjoy the Black Friday experience, it is an experience. It isn't, yes, I can probably get the same thing online, as cheaper, but it's just that idea of going there and being one of the first people.
So 53% of people surveyed by Retail Me Not said they would be shopping today, Black Friday, and in the store, but spending 8% less than they did last year, and 85% said that was because of inflation. Shoppers, though, are trying to save every single penny they can. Listen to this.
When you're shopping at somewhere like Target, you can scan the barcode through the app, and it'll show you that the regular price is $16.99, but the online price is $10.82. So they will price match up at the counter.
All right, so there's a little way to save money. Go online, check the barcode. That was obviously at Target, and they've been having sales for weeks now. But back out here live at Best Buy, steady flow. And these people aren't playing around. You see the same folks go in, about 15, 20 minutes later, they come back right out. Their hands obviously are empty when they go in. And Nick, when they come back out, they got something in their hands because they bought some. They knew exactly what they wanted. They did their homework.
Xavier, I love the idea of scanning that barcode and finding out if there is a price difference that you can match at the register.
Yeah, pretty cool, right? I didn't know that. Something I learned, and now I'm going to do when I go shopping. The Target is actually just over there.
Xavier Walton reporting live for us this morning. Xavier, thank you. Also making headlines, President Biden saying he'll use time over the holiday to think about running for re-election in 2024. The president has given himself a deadline of early next year to make an official announcement. Tom Dempsey joins us live now for a look at what we're learning. Tom, good morning. We're already talking about the 2024 election, and we literally just finished with the midterms.
Yeah, it seems like I was standing on the roof of the NewsNation bureau here in D.C. Raining this morning here. Not too long ago, we were talking about midterms, like you just said. But this morning, one topic of conversation within the Biden family could very well be on the future of President Joe Biden and whether or not he runs in 2024. That's one of the biggest questions in politics right now. And the president's saying, he expects to make an official decision sometime early next year. And he could potentially use this holiday season to get some thinking done on, if he wants to serve another term as president and at least run for the White House. But just yesterday, he was in Nantucket, Massachusetts, serving pumpkin pies to first responders there. We also know he conducted phone calls with all 6 branches of the military as well. During brief remarks to reporters, he spoke about the need to keep giving aid to Ukraine during the war there and said negotiations continue to avoid a possible rail strike in early December that could bring some big impacts to the national economy. But again, one of the biggest questions surrounding the president continues to be on if he will run for re-election. At 80 years old, his age will be a consideration. Earlier this month, also, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer both announced they will step down from their own leadership roles in Congress. This week, the White House press secretary said any discussion over the president's future will involve plenty of input from his family.
He plans to run. He said himself, as you just laid out, Jeremy, that he's going to have a private conversation with his family. I'm certainly not going to lay out what that conversation could look like or potentially be. That is the president's clearly prerogative to have that conversation with his family, to make that decision.
And Nick, you brought up midterms. 2 weeks ago, we were talking about midterm elections and the significance of those. The results that we saw play out with midterms could play a big role, too, and if President Joe Biden runs for re-election. Democrats, really mitigated losses in the House. And that could potentially give him some momentum to possibly run for re-election. We just don't know at this point. It's also interesting to note, Nick, here we are 2 weeks out after the midterm elections. And this morning, Decision Desk HQ still has 2 races that are considered undecided, but Republicans do hold a 220 to 213 margin in the House, Nick.
Tom, before I let you go, I do want to ask you there, I wonder if President Biden, in many ways, because he is in his 80s, wants to just relax as a senior and enjoy his grandchildren. But is there shame to only doing one term? Is that weighing in the back of his mind? And you've heard many also say that the Democrats just don't have a bench.
It's certainly not uncalled for, it's never been done before. It has been done before with presidents, only running one term and, bowing out after that. But, President Joe Biden, you have to consider his age, 80 years old. Gets at least some momentum. Let's not say that this, midterms were a complete win for the Democrats. They seem to mitigate losses, I think, is the way to look at it. So the next 2 years could be very telling. What we see over the next 2 years with the president, if he decides to run or not, I think really the only people who truly know at this point if he's going to run or not are maybe his family. And, make no mistake, they could very well be talking about it, over the holiday weekend. As we said, the president hoping to make a formal decision on this sometime early next year. And he's going to be using the holiday season to really consider if he wants to run again. A lot goes to that, not just the prestige and the historical nature of holding the office, but also, the grueling campaign that comes along with that and the debates, not to mention the grueling nature of just being president of the United States day in and day out. So, again, all those things being considered likely right now, Nick, is whether or not he will run again.
More sweet potato pie presidency. More sweet potato pie presidency. Yeah, that's a tough one to decide between. Tom, thank you so much for reporting live for us this morning. Here are a few other headlines we're following this morning. The city of Chesapeake, Virginia says it will hold a vigil next week for the victims of Tuesday's Walmart shooting. Mayor Rick West is inviting the community to come together Monday and honor the victims. At this hour, 2 people remain hospitalized, with one in critical condition and the other in fair condition. Police say the 31-year-old gunman, Andre Bing, killed 6 people before turning the gun on himself. A law enforcement source tells NewsNation that Bing had what appears to be a manifesto on his phone. The source said it described how Bing was upset about a recent change in employment status and how that had led to him being harassed by fellow employees. Police say they will share more information later today. A former member of Iran's national soccer team is behind bars after he was arrested by the government for his criticism of its handling of nationwide protests, as well as insulting the national soccer team. Voria Ghafouri was not chosen to go to the World Cup. He's been an outspoken critic of Iran's authority throughout his career. Ghafouri has previously spoken out about the long-standing ban on women spectators at men's soccer matches and Iran's foreign policies. Well, China's communist government remains committed to its zero COVID policy as it expands lockdowns across the nation. Thursday, the number of COVID-19 cases hit a daily record. Residents of 8 districts that are home to 6.6 million people were told to stay home for 5 days except to buy food or get medical treatment. Daily mass testing was ordered in what the city government called a war of annihilation against the virus. This week, authorities reported China's first COVID-19 deaths in 6 months. The government is trying to contain the latest wave of outbreaks without shutting down factories and the rest of its economy as it did in early 2020. Well, ahead on Early Morning, an Alaska family woke up an unwanted visitor in their basement. You're going to have to see this one to believe it. We'll be right back after this break.
I'm Dan Abrams, and this is NewsNation. News for all America.
The virus that causes shingles is sleeping in 99% of people over 50. It's lying dormant, waiting, and could reactivate. Shingles strikes as a painful, blistering rash that can last for weeks, and it could wake at any time. Think you are not at risk for shingles? It's time to wake up, because shingles could wake up in you. If you're over 50, talk to your doctor or pharmacist about shingles prevention.
Wait, what? All you got was ham? Mm-hmm. And all you got was the pumpkin pie? Mm-hmm. And all you got was turkey?
With gravy.
Mama, it's all you can eat holiday buffet.
Exactly.
A smorgasbord of all you want, all you need. This is turkey and gravy and pie and mashed potatoes. Where's my real family at? They must be here somewhere. Did I sit at the wrong table?
My active psoriatic arthritis can slow me down. Now, Skyrizi helps me get going by treating my skin and joints. Along with significantly clearer skin, Skyrizi helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Skyrizi attaches to and reduces a source of excess inflammation that can lead to skin and joint symptoms. With Skyrizi, 90% clearer skin and less joint pain is possible.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like the feeling of improving my skin and joints. And that means everything. Now's the time to talk to your doctor about how Skyrizi can help treat your psoriatic arthritis so you can get going. Learn how AbbVie can help you save.
For people who are a little intense about hydration, Neutrogena Hydro Boost. Lightweight, clinically proven, 48-hour hydration for that healthy skin glow. Neutrogena, for people with skin.
When it's go time, I don't let constipation stop me.
New great-tasting Dulcolax Chewy Fruit Bites work naturally with the water in your body in as little as 30 minutes. So you can go fast, go gently, and go on with life. New Dulcolax Chewy Fruit Bites put you comfortably in control.
The votes are in.
This is NewsNation's special coverage of the midterm election.
And viewers choose NewsNation.
Local perspective all night. That's the key to understanding. I'm joined tonight by Leland Vittert.
We said if we can call Wisconsin for Ron Johnson, now we can.
Political editor Chris Stirewalt.
I am so proud of voters tonight who are thinking like Americans and not partisan.
More people are discovering NewsNation.
Democracy wins.
See why NewsNation is news for all America.
Welcome back. Imagine heading into a shelter and adopting a cat, only to find out later that that cat is the oldest living cat in the world. Vicki Green was looking to adopt a senior cat when she saw Flossie on an adoption website. What she didn't know was just how special this cat truly was. Turns out Flossie is 26 years and 329 days. That's the human equivalent of being 120 years old. The sassy senior came into Green's life after her owners passed away. Now, In a new home, this Guinness World Record holder can enjoy her extended twilight years surrounded by love and getting pampered.
I adopted her on the sort of basis that this is her retirement home and she gets whatever she wants. I want to sort of, make her last years the best that she's had.
Well, the Alaska Department of Fish and Game found themselves in a unique situation earlier this week when they had to rescue a moose calf from a basement after it fell through a window. The moose was estimated to be a 1-year-old bull, tipping the scales at a whopping 500 pounds. Troopers were able to sedate the moose and carry it outside where it was safely released. Okay, but look at this face. That is the face of a moose who is not happy about the fact that his plans to spend Thanksgiving in a warm house were foiled. Look at that face. Tell me I'm wrong. Just in time for Thanksgiving, a family in Texas has been united with their adopted newborn babies who are stranded in Russia. Thursday on NewsNation Live, Marnie Hughes spoke with the man who personally escorted mom and dad over the border to bring those babies home safely to the United States.
So we've, Project Dynamo, we've done a lot of these things. We have a program in Ukraine called Gemini, which is our surrogate baby program. We've done over 60 operations, which is like 70 babies because we have a lot of twins in there. Our first one that we did was Sasha, Lenny and Moisha Spector, which were twins that were born premature from Atlanta, Georgia. This reunion was a little bit different because this family has been fighting for their children for 3 months. They were born in September, we're in November. And for the last 3 months, they've been trying to get reunited with their children that were in Russia, not Ukraine, which added a different level of complexity for us.
What are the challenges with Russian authorities in trying to conduct a rescue like this?
It's different, right? We're Project Dynamo. We've done 350 operations in different war zones and the hurricane, and we're used to cruise missiles and artillery and those kinds of problems. This is different. This is a geopolitical issue. The U.S. is not the most popular team in town right now in Russia, and because they were in a Russian state-run orphanage, that added a level of complexity and risk that is just different. Not better or worse, but it is different, as we see with the Brittany Griner case. Seemingly small infractions can result in catastrophic consequences. And that's the real risk proposition with this case.
Some people may be wondering, Brian, about the surrogate mother. Is she safe? What's her status?
I believe she is. I've actually never spoken to the surrogate mother. She gave birth in September. We've been on this case for about 2 weeks. So I believe she's safe. I have no reason to believe that she's not safe. But in reality, I'm not sure.
It's so good to see that those babies are home. Coming up, with Cyber Monday on the horizon, porch pirates are guiding their sails to swoop in and nab your stuff. More on that next. You're watching Early Morning.
If you want to go fast, go faster. And if you got the devil on your shoulder, take him for a ride.
BioFreeze, the #1 clinician-recommended menthol topical pain relief brand. Works fast, lasts long. Cool the pain with BioFreeze.
With the new law, our family found a health plan for less than $57 a month. And knowing that we are covered, it simplifies life.
With my plan for $0 a month, I know I can get the care I need to live my best life.
They were able to make sure that I was taken care of. It was really life-changing to have that. And I only pay $16 a month.
For the first time in my life, I found a great plan for $0 a month.
Healthcare.gov is here for millions, like you.
I just switched to Verizon Business Unlimited. It is just right for my little business. Unlimited premium data, unlimited hotspot data.
You know it's from the most reliable 5G network in America.
When it comes to your business, not all bars are created equal. So switch to Verizon Business Unlimited today.
Pain hits fast, so get relief fast. Only Tylenol Rapid Release Gels have laser-drilled holes. They release medicine fast for fast pain relief. And now, get relief without a pill with Tylenol Dissolve Packs. Relief without the water.
I'm attorney George Sink. When I was in the Marines, I served 2 tours in Vietnam and was stationed at Camp Lejeune.
Over 1 million people at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987 may have been exposed to toxic substances in the water supply on base.
For years, our law firm has helped disabled veterans get all the money they deserve. If you or a loved one were affected by the toxic water at Camp Lejeune, call us now at 800-900-3737 or visit us at disabledvets.com.
Do you listen to the TV on high volume or have trouble hearing conversations? Then you would benefit from hearing aids. Don't waste thousands on expensive hearing aids when you can get Nano's revolutionary technology for just $297. Don't be fooled by higher-priced hearing aids. The CIC Recharge is a true hearing aid, not an amplifier. With rechargeable technology many customers say is superior to more expensive models. Call now and get not one, but 2 Nano hearing aids for just $297. Plus, we'll add a portable charging case and ship your order absolutely free. The CIC Recharge has a tiny in-the-ear canal design that is nearly invisible. Why keep missing out on important conversations or waste thousands of dollars? Call and get 2 CIC Recharge hearing aids for only $297 and free shipping.
800-925-4584. Again, that's 800-925-4584.
Welcome back. Here's a look at some business headlines. The IRS says your refund for the 2022 tax year may be smaller than in years past. That's because of several recently passed changes to the tax code. The IRS announced taxpayers who take the standard deduction instead of itemizing their taxes will no longer be able to deduct their charitable contributions. Also, 2021's American Rescue Plan Act lowered the reporting threshold for third-party networks that process payments for those doing business. Next week, Twitter will be bringing back the old, as in old accounts that were banned will be reactivated. Exactly who that involves and when hasn't been made official. The move comes after Musk posted a poll asking if Twitter should reinstate suspended accounts that haven't broken the law. About 75% of respondents agreed. Putting the question to a poll contradicts what Musk said after taking control of Twitter, that there would be a council to decide on reinstating banned accounts. Adidas is launching an investigation into allegations of misconduct against the rapper formerly known as Kanye West. The multinational company, largely known for athletic apparel, cut ties with the artist in October after his anti-Semitic tirades. Now the company is looking into West's behavior when Adidas was affiliated with Ye. That's after Rolling Stone reported on a private letter from high-ranking Yeezy employees referring to the, quote, toxic and chaotic environment that Kanye West created. Well, Thursday, Adidas released a statement saying, quote, it is currently not clear whether the accusations made in the anonymous letter are true. The statement went on to say the company is starting an independent investigation because it takes the allegations very seriously. Adidas had been partnered with West since 2013 when the company signed his brand away from rival Nike. 'Tis the holiday season for shopping, but buyers across the country are on high alert as many have ditched the store aisles for online shopping. But be warned, pesky porch pirates may be lying in wait. So how can you protect your holiday goods? Rowena Shaddix filed this report from Sacramento.
Hey, get away.
Sacramento area residents beware. A new study ranks Sacramento 5th worst in the country for package thefts. From the front door?
Yes, actually.
Security companies Safewise and Vivint spoke with thousands of Americans over the past 5 years and used Google Trends and FBI theft numbers to help compile this newest theft report and rank cities. Across the country in the past 12 months, around 260 million packages were stolen by so-called porch pirates. That's 50 million more packages that were swiped compared to the last year. The study also shows that more than half of the victims have had multiple packages stolen in the past year, and 40% of those packages were valued between $50 and $100, an estimated loss of around $19.5 billion.
Increase the security, cameras around, maybe neighborhood watch.
Have them delivered to the office. If you work in an office, have them delivered there.
Good safety suggestions along with these from Roseville Police. And if you're expecting a package, make sure you keep an eye out for it. So when it arrives, you can grab it right away and cut down on anyone stealing it. And there's always this.
Do it the old school way. Yeah, not these young kids are Amazon, online, and all that stuff. No. Stick with the old school. Just get your stuff like I am. Buy it at the store, go home with it. You can see what you got.
Buy it at the store, see what you got, and just bring it on home. Well, that was Rowena Shaddix reporting. Sky-high costs continue to plague the economy. Inflation and increased prices are expected to curb spending this holiday season, impacting everything from the number of gifts on your list to the amount of food on your table. Our Nicole Burley has more.
Some call it Scrooge, others call it inflation. Whatever you call it, it's driving up the price of everything from laptops to eggs and threatens to affect your plans for a happy holiday.
Have a holly jolly Christmas. It's the best time of the year.
According to a survey by consumer experts Deloitte Services, nearly 3/4 of American households expect prices to be higher this year, and they're looking for ways to cut back. And this year, your gift could be one of them.
We are buying less just in general as a family, and, you know, all the grandkids and everything like that. It's all going to be more concise as we're purchasing things.
Because it's expensive, like the cost of everything. So I'm just getting kids and my parents.
So last year, the average number of gifts given by respondents was 16. It has now fallen to 9.
And that's forcing families to look for different ways to celebrate the holidays. After 2 years of COVID and the curtailing of family gatherings, many people are willing to pay more to spend time together. So despite inflation, holiday shopping is already in full swing.
A pair of hop-along boots and a pistol that shoots is the wish of Barney and Ben.
Retailers like Walmart and Target are pushing holiday discounts earlier to help shoppers spread out their spending in difficult economic times.
Just more conservative cost of gifts. Pretty much everybody's still going to get the gift.
The average this year is about $14.55, and so that's roughly the same as last year. However, the number of gifts purchased are going to be much less. So inflation really is impacting the number of gifts, even though the total dollars spent will be pretty much in the range that we saw last year.
And the price to put food on your table also hit hard by inflation. According to the Consumer Price Index, Americans are paying more and more for groceries. Food prices rose 13% over last year, outpacing the 8% rate of inflation. Fruits and vegetables up more than 10%, whole milk 15%, and eggs a whopping 30% higher this year. Supply chain disruptions are partially to blame for higher prices all around. Farmers and food processors reporting difficulty transporting grain and livestock amid driver shortages, meaning food prices continue to rise. And consumers are looking for ways to save money.
Pay attention to where you shop. There's a lot of places that will actually discount the food as it's expiring.
I always shop for a deal, and use my brain, but hey, what are you going to sub out a turkey for?
But high prices or not, many say the holidays and family are worth spending a little extra money.
Buying something meaningful for someone who is dear to you, you don't have to have quantity, you buy quality.
Our thanks to Nicole Burley for that report. Coming up next, millions of Ukrainians are still without power as Russian shelling continues this morning. We'll tell you all about Ukraine's rush to restore power as a harsh winter looms over the war-torn country. Stay with us.
Walgreens Find Rx coverage is here to make Medicare easy. Even easier than those dances your grandkids love doing with you. Start Medicare shopping today with Walgreens Find Rx coverage. Plus, find low-cost copays. It's not too late to talk Medicare. Walgreens is here. Walgreens.
My name is Austin James. As a musician living with diabetes, finger sticks can be a real challenge. That's why I use the Freestyle Libre 2 system. With a painless 1-second scan, I know my glucose numbers without finger sticks. Now I'm managing my diabetes better, and I've lowered my A1C from 8.2 to 6.7.
Take the mystery out of managing your diabetes and lower your A1C. Now you know. Try it for free at freestylelibre.us.
Suffering from sinus congestion, especially at night? Try Vicks Sinex for instant relief that lasts up to 12 hours. Vicks Sinex targets congestion at the source, relieving nasal congestion and sinus pressure by reducing swelling in the sinuses. Try Vicks Sinex.
I just switched to Verizon Business Unlimited. It is just right for my little business. Unlimited premium data, unlimited hotspot data.
You know it's from the most reliable 5G network in America.
When it comes to your business, not all bars are created equal. So switch to Verizon Business Unlimited today.
Nina's got a lot of ideas for the future. And since anyone can create a free plan at Fidelity, Nina has a plan based on what matters most to her. And she can simply focus on right now. That's the planning effect from Fidelity.
Save up to $600 when you pair your Peloton bike, Bike Plus, or Tread with accessories.
Step into your power, Peloton.
It's Peloton's best offer of the season. Visit onepeloton.com. Terms apply.
Bye-bye cough.
Later chest congestion. Hello, 12 hours of relief.
12 hours? Not coughing? Hashtag still not coughing?
Mucinex DM gives you 12 hours of relief from chest congestion and any type of cough, day or night. Mucinex DM. It's comeback season.
For people who are a little intense about hydration, Neutrogena Hydro Boost. Lightweight, clinically proven, 48-hour hydration for that healthy skin glow. Neutrogena, for people with skin.
Important health announcement regarding Camp Lejeune.
If you or someone you know spent time at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina prior to 1988 and developed any of these cancers or suffered any of these injuries, you may be eligible for significant financial compensation. Call Camp Lejeune victims to discuss your case now.
Leaking underground tanks contaminated the drinking water with benzene and other highly carcinogenic chemicals, up to 280 times acceptable levels in some instances.
There have been numerous reported cases of exposed personnel developing cancer and other serious health conditions. It is critical to take action and call Camp Lejeune victims now.
If you or someone you know spent time at Camp Lejeune before 1988 and you developed any of these cancers or injuries, call to determine your eligibility for financial compensation now. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
Call 800-465-9513. That's 800-465-9513.
Welcome back to Early Morning. I'm Nick Smith. President Biden has renewed his call for an assault weapons ban after massacres just days apart in Colorado Springs and Chesapeake, Virginia. He plans to try and get it passed during the lame duck session. Any gun control bill will be difficult to pass when the next Congress forms in January, with Republicans controlling the House of Representatives. Well, the holiday shopping season kicks off today with Black Friday, but many Americans are expected to be more reluctant to spend big cash because of inflation. For the people planning to hunt for bargains today, many retailers are pushing them to their websites for the discounted items to avoid drawing large crowds. Well, Cyber Monday is also coming up if you need another day for holiday shopping. Last year, Americans spent nearly $11 billion on Cyber Monday, with video games and electronics among the top-selling categories. While many people wait until Cyber Monday to buy electronics, business experts say if you see a good deal now, don't wait, buy it. A warning for you this morning if you're on Instagram. Cyber criminals are targeting people with sought-after handles. As senior national correspondent Brian Enton reports, cyber criminals are going to the extreme, extorting people to get their hands on those coveted handles. And for some, the attempts have turned deadly.
It really went from 0 to 60 in no time. Now they're going after my family. They know where I work.
And I was like, well, somebody's bored and playing a trick on us.
What began with strange texts and prank pizza deliveries ended in one man's death, a case of violent internet extortion gone wrong.
My father died of a heart attack because of their actions.
Chris Eberly and Corey Fitch's father, Mark Herring, were early to the social media game, both in possession of coveted original social media handles. Mark's at Tennessee, Chris's at Ginger.
It was a lot of fun, and it was kind of part of my identity.
But in March of 2020, Chris received a strange text about his page. Hey, Christopher, going to need at Ginger on Instagram. Harassment to you and your family starts now. Initially, Chris thought it was a joke.
I responded with LOL, and they wrote back, haha, okay.
It didn't take long for Chris to realize he was being extorted.
About a half hour later, I got a phone call from a local number, and it was a guy that was saying, hey, you called for a tow truck, I'm outside your house. And immediately I was like, oh man, Like, this is not a joke.
Over the next few days, the stunts escalated, and his son's school was put into lockdown.
And they called the police, and they said that they were me. They said they had killed their girlfriend and were barricaded inside. So this is a house really close to this elementary school. They had to go into lockdown.
Chris had become the target of an elaborate online extortion scheme run by cyber criminals hoping to acquire OG social media handles, recognizable names, words, and phrases to sell on the dark web. On sites like OG User and Swapped, these handles can go for thousands of dollars. Eventually, after months of harassment, Chris made the decision to hand his unique handle over to a nonprofit.
I got to a point where I was over it. It was just not worth it.
Cyber criminals realize there's some money in them. So instead of going out and trying to purchase these handles, they're going out and they're up to a lot of dirty tricks, trying to extort regular people.
Scott Oggenbaum is a retired FBI agent and cybersecurity expert. He's seen a rise in online extortion cases as original handles have become prime internet real estate.
Policing the dark web is really impossible thing for law enforcement to do. Only 10% of the actual internet is searchable through the surface, and you have to get to them through special routers.
Unlike Chris, when Mark Herring was targeted by cyber criminals on the dark web, he did not make it out alive.
A kid from the United Kingdom called the 911 and said that his name was Mark Herring. He met a woman and he shot her in the back of the head and killed her.
In no time, the authorities were at Mark's doorstep.
They immediately surrounded him. He stood up to put his hands up and he had an instant heart attack and fell and hit his head and died.
Mark had received several phone calls that day related to his Twitter handle @Tennessee.
And when he blocked the number, that's when the harassment started.
Mark had been targeted by 3 individuals, all minors who had uploaded his information on the app Discord. Only one of the individuals, Shane Sonderman, was ever caught, indicted by a grand jury for targeting 6 victims in separate internet extortion cases. The main perpetrator, who was at the time a minor in the United Kingdom, has never faced any consequences.
What do you do when the bad guy is located in another country? It makes it so challenging for law enforcement.
The penalty needs to be much more severe.
The irony is that Mark, who was killed for his @Tennessee handle, took the page to his grave. It has sat unused since his death.
The internet can be fun, exciting. I met my husband on the internet, but it's also deadly. And kids think it's a game and it's someone's life, and that's not a game to play with.
Well, that was Brian Inton reporting. Turning our attention to the ongoing war in Ukraine. Right now, the country is racing to restore power after Russia fired missiles earlier this week that targeted critical infrastructure. Tom Dempsey is back with us this morning to talk about why it's so important that the power be restored to Ukrainians sooner rather than later. Tom, good morning.
Hey, good morning again, Nick. Yeah, this morning, the tough times in Ukraine remain ongoing, with power crews in Kyiv, home to about 3 million people, saying 60% of the population there remains without power this morning. And keep in mind, temperatures remain well below freezing at the moment. And these latest power outages all coming as a result of Russian military strikes. One thing we're paying attention to again overseas is with all these power outages happening today, people in the city are being told to stock up on water, food, and any warm clothing they may have as more possible attacks from Russia could come. Repair crews continue to try and work to get things reconnected across the country, but right now water supply remains a big concern for many regions. The Russian military says it targeted energy infrastructure to disrupt the flow of soldiers, weapons, and ammo in Ukraine. And this morning, NASA satellite images show Ukraine in darkness when viewed from space, showing the scope of these outages. Speaking to reporters on Thanksgiving, President Joe Biden highlighted the need to keep supporting Ukraine and how he believed House Republicans would continue to offer assistance in the new Congress next year.
This is no time to walk away from Ukraine. Not at all. Now, we had a lot of talk in this last election about whether the other team is going to continue to support Ukraine. I still believe there's enough support there.
And as these, power outages and water supply shortages continue, stories of just the resilience of the Ukrainian people continue to emerge, Nick. We're seeing reports of people using rainwater to, meet their water needs inside their homes, again, and temperatures are well below freezing at this point. But Ukrainian people hanging in there right now amid war that continues to bring all sorts of destruction, Nick.
You and I have covered this story since the very beginning. We're 9 months into this, and the Ukrainian people really do need some relief. Tom Dempsey, thank you for reporting for us this morning. Well, coming up next, we'll bring you up to speed on all the stories that you may have missed this week on NewsNation. I'm Nick Smith, in for Mitch Carr. We'll be right back after this break, and this is Early Morning.
NewsNation and Decision Desk HQ.
NewsNation and Decision Desk HQ were the first to call the balance of power for both the Senate and the House.
The Democrats have regained control of the Senate.
A huge deal that Republicans control the House in the larger sense.
Before Fox, MSNBC, and CNN.
Decision Desk HQ has just called the Arizona Senate races.
Breaking news when it happens, not 24 hours later. That's NewsNation. News for all America.
With this balsam hill tree, create your own twinkly light show and enjoy a stunningly realistic tree designed to make setup simple. Save up to 50% with our Black Friday sale at balsamhill.com.
I just switched to Verizon Business Unlimited. It is just right for my little business. Unlimited premium data, unlimited hotspot data.
You know it's from the most reliable 5G network in America.
When it comes to your business, not all bars are created equal. So switch to Verizon Business Unlimited today.
There's a razor that's taking the men's grooming world by storm. And if you don't have it, you need it. MicroTouch Solo Titanium, the full body razor that trims, edges, grooms, and even shaves with micro precision. And it's totally safe to the touch. Solo Titanium, full body control with one tool. No nicks, bumps, or ingrown hairs. Edge beards and goatees with one touch. And clean your neck, barber shop perfect. And check this out. Snap on the guide to tame growth and perfectly shape your full beard. And keep new growth stubble trimmed exactly to your style. And look, Solo Titanium Full Body Groomer trims precisely the length of hair you want. Snap off the guide and remove unwanted hair anywhere in seconds. What makes Solo Titanium different than your ordinary razor? Dual-sided German stainless steel blades, bonded with titanium. Shave up or down with 200 microstrokes per second. The Ultra Flex pivoting head contours perfectly to you for precise results. 3 custom grooming guides for control of exact length and shape. Cordless and rechargeable lithium ion with a non-slip grip and an LED spotlight. So precise, you need no creams, no soaps, and no water. Solo Titanium, advanced full body grooming. The versatility you want for the look you need. Guaranteed or your money back. Get yours now at solotitanium.com for only $29.99 or call 1-800-506-5743. Complete with titanium bonded German stainless steel blades, pivoting head, and 3 custom grooming guides. Everything you see here for just $29.99. The MicroTouch Solo Titanium Full Body Groomer. The one tool that does it all.
This important message is for all Marines and their family members who spent time at Camp Lejeune, North Carolina before 1988. If you were stationed at Camp Lejeune and suffered from cancer or any of these serious health conditions, you may be eligible for financial compensation. Call Guardian Legal Network now to discuss your case. For over 30 years, leaking underground storage tanks containing benzene and other highly toxic chemicals contaminated the drinking water. Numerous cases have been reported of exposed personnel developing cancer and other serious health conditions. So if you are a Marine or a Marine Corps family member who developed cancer or any of these health issues after spending at least 30 days at Camp Lejeune prior to 1988, don't wait. Call Guardian Legal Network to determine your eligibility for potential financial compensation now. If you don't win, you pay nothing.
Call 800-680-5802. That's 800-680-5802.
It's being called a tridemic. The combination of flu, RSV, and COVID cases are creating a wave of respiratory illnesses across the country. Thursday on NewsNation Live, Marnie Hughes asked a primary care physician what people can do to keep their family members healthy this holiday season. Take a listen.
We're in a much better place this year than last year for sure. The pandemic is still going on, but we're moving away from hospitalizations and deaths to more of a risk of long COVID. So pandemic is not over, but the most important thing that I think people should really look at as you get together for the holiday celebration is getting that COVID test. I know people don't want to hear this, but if you've got elderly people in your family, maybe people that are vulnerable, like people who have asthma or who are obese, if they get COVID, their risk of developing severe disease could be high. So I would recommend make sure you use an unexpired and non-expired COVID home test, maybe a few hours before. That way you know going into the meal who might be positive, and then you can adjust accordingly.
Help us understand why the vaccines are critical, but we're not seeing the full protection that we did early on. What is some of the data showing right now?
Well, you know, it's really very normal for vaccines to wane after a while. Pretty much every vaccine, the efficacy goes down with time. So that's also why it's important to make sure that you're fully vaccinated. I've been talking about COVID-19 really ever since the beginning of the pandemic, and CDC never changed the definition of what it means to be fully vaccinated. Fully vaccinated is really getting 3 shots, and then you get the booster shots accordingly. So if you're 50, you should have gotten 5 shots by now, including the latest Omicron booster. And if you get that, then you're protected against the current circulating variants. And that's the best way, Marnie, to be protected against this virus. Even if you get the infection, your risk of severe disease and long COVID goes down significantly.
We're seeing babies on our screen right now. Dr. Matthew, talk a little bit about RSV, why it is such a concern, and the status of a vaccine to fight this virus.
RSV has hit us hard early, and has it really in so many ways incapacitated at hospitals. Now, RSV, as a lot of young parents will realize, is very common in young children, especially before the age of 2. But the problem is in some kids, they may actually need emergent care. So as we're seeing right here on the screen, if you have a baby that has labored breathing, almost like the head bobbing, the chest going in and out, maybe they're dehydrated, that is a risk of a baby having severe disease, and that baby must be taken to the emergency room. But I want all parents to be reassured that most kids just have a cold, Marnie. In fact, it can affect adults as well, but the risk really at the end of the day is to kids below the age of 2, especially below 6 months, and adults over the age of 65.
And that was, of course, Marnie Hughes. You'll see her here at 10 Central. Let's take a look at some of the stories we'll be touching on at the top of the hour for Morning in America. We'll have much more on Black Friday and preview the deals and what to expect on the big holiday shopping day. Plus, how soon President Biden could announce his 2024 decision. And there could be a rail strike in the matter of weeks. We'll take a look at how the possible work stoppage could impact farmers. Don't move. After this, we're heading over to the top of the hill when Early Morning returns.
Every year, millions of people find a health plan at healthcare.gov during open enrollment, so they can enjoy more visits, have more meet and greets, and have less to worry about. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 a month or less with financial help. Feel like a million and find your plan during open enrollment. Healthcare.gov is here for millions like you.
I just switched to Verizon Business Unlimited. It is just right for my little business. Unlimited premium data, unlimited hotspot data.
You know it's from the most reliable 5G network in America.
When it comes to your business, not all bars are created equal. So switch to Verizon Business Unlimited today.
Wait, what? All you got was ham? Mm-hmm. And all you got was the pumpkin pie? Mm-hmm. And all you got was turkey?
With gravy.
Mama, it's all-you-can-eat holiday buffet.
Exactly.
A smorgasbord of all you want, all you need. This is turkey and gravy and pie and mashed potatoes. Where's my real family at? They must be here somewhere. Did I sit at the wrong table?
Flashing lights. They really get your attention. See them, and you know to go slow. Now we put that same technology in the palm of your hand with Lizard Flare. It's the high-tech safety flare with no flame.
Attention! This may be your last chance to get Lizard Flare before they're gone. Details coming up.
Lizard Flare uses 15 high-intensity LED strobes that can be seen nearly a mile away, and a powerful magnet that sticks to your car so you can warn people without exiting the vehicle. And they have 360 degrees of visibility. Rain, snow, even fog. Lizard Flare won't let you down. Look, flares are dangerous, but Lizard Flare stays cool to the touch and can last a lifetime without burning out. They're built tough with shatterproof ABS lenses and rubber bumpers that take a beating. That's a 30-ton fire truck. A dead battery, an empty gas tank. With Lizard Flare, help is on the way. Lizard Flare Pro has an ultra-bright flashlight too, and this handy hook to hang it up for a jump start or stand it up to fix a flat. Perfect for your truck or RV. Listen, roadside accidents are the leading cause of death for people under 55 in the United States. Make sure everyone in your family has Lizard Flare.
Get your Lizard Flare for only $9.99 only through this special offer. But wait, there's breaking news. Lizard Flare may be discontinued. Due to rising costs and supply chain shortages, Lizard Flare is stopping manufacturing effective immediately. There is a strict limit of 2 vehicle packs per order while supplies last. But once the current inventory is gone, it's gone forever. Order now.
This may be your last chance, so call 1-800-806-1946. That's 1-800-806-1946. Or visit lizardflare.com. So call 1-800-806-1946. Or visit lizardflare.com now.
Your TV shows change. Your TV bills don't have to. Get the 3-year TV price guarantee, only from Dish.
Good morning. Welcome back to Early Morning. It's time to head now over to the top of the Hill, where congressional reporter Michael Schnell joins us now. She's a congressional reporter for The Hill. Michael, I have to just ask you, jumping right on in there, Arizona seems to be ground zero for candidates challenging the results of an election. What's happening?
Nick, that's exactly right. And again, as we saw in 2020, Arizona is becoming this hot spot for challenging election results. So just recently, we saw the Republican candidate for Attorney General, Abe Hamadeh. He filed a lawsuit against the election results. He's right now trailing his Democratic opponent by about 510 votes. And that's with 2.5 million votes cast. So he's asking for those election results to be looked at. In addition to that, 2 GOP-led counties have already voted to delay certification of the election results. So, and then thirdly, we're seeing the Republican candidate for governor, Kari Lake. She has still not conceded to her Republican opponent, Katie Hobbs. So again, it's just those 3 examples are just a few of the examples of how we're seeing election denialism and sort of these claims of election fraud be focused in Arizona, and again, another election cycle.
And Michael, we saw what that peaceful transfer of power can do, because we saw Republican Governor Ducey say, hey, Governor-elect Hobbs, hey, handing this on over, wishing you the best, wish I had won. What does this actually do for Kari Lake? You mentioned Kari Lake. Does she seem to have the swell of support for her election denial?
Listen, it was significant that Doug Ducey recognized Katie Hobbs' win. Again, that peaceful transfer of power is important, but it also wasn't too surprising, which is why I don't know that it'll really affect Kari Lake's thinking whatsoever. If we remember back in 2020, Doug Ducey was pretty quick to jump on former President Trump's claims that the election was stolen. He shot back at those election fraud claims pretty quickly and in a pretty strong way. That's one of the reasons why he drew this ire of the former president. So in terms of Doug Ducey recognizing Katie Hobbs as the winner of the race, I don't know that that's really going to change Kari Lake's calculus very much. And as of now, she still has not conceded. So it'll definitely be interesting to keep an eye on that and see how she proceeds in the weeks to come.
And Michael, one last question for you before we run out of time. President Biden plans to push forward an assault weapons ban proposal once again. Any chances of that moving through?
In the lame duck, likely no, Nick. And as we remember over the summer, the assault weapons ban did pass through the House, but only with 2 Republicans supporting. Actually, 5 Democrats peeled off and opposed the legislation, and it has since not moved in the Senate. And that's just because there's way too much GOP opposition in the Senate. Of course, they need to pass a legislative filibuster, which means that 60 votes are needed in the current 50-50 split Senate. That would require at least 10 Republican senators to get on board and vote for that piece of legislation, which just in this political climate right now is highly unlikely.
Michael, I have to ask, the last question I have for you is Black Friday. What do congressional reporters shop for?
I mean, listen, we're always on Capitol Hill, so we could always use some new wardrobes, some nice pieces of clothing, and of course, notebooks and pens, because as a reporter, that's what really it all comes down to.
Michael Chanel, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. That's all you have with me here for Early Morning. Guess what? It's time to hand it on over to the Commander-in-Chief here at Morning in America, Mitch Carr. Mitch, good morning.
The Commander-in-Chief, is my name Michael Corn? I don't think so. We hope you ate a lot of corn yesterday. It's cone. It's delicious. It was Thanksgiving as well. If you're waking up from Black Friday and maybe you had a little bit too much, you overindulged last night, we hope you have your coffee. If you don't have your coffee, that's okay. We're going to wake you up. Morning in America starts right now.